About a year and a half ago, my wife and I visited the Tower of London, which is in a British city, I forget which one. But anyway, they were going to build it on the Thames River, but because of budget cuts, they built it on the Thames. It's a 1,000-year-old fortress, the Tower of London. And while we were there, one of the beefeaters, who's the Queen's Royal Guard with the fancy hats, they're all military life guys, and they show the tourists around the fortress. And the guy's drinking from one of these, and he's up on a platform talking to the crowd. He's going, "The walls are 80 meters high. No arrow can possibly pass over. The walls are 40 meters thick. No cannonball could pass through. And that's why the fortress has stood for 1,000 years. And somebody in the crowd goes, "I'd like to know what he's drinking in there." Somebody else goes, "Yeah, mate, what do you got in there?" And he goes, "Water mixed with gin." True story. Anyway, this is a story about the ghost of Anne Boleyn. Or if you've read The Other Boleyn Girl, Anne was the other Boleyn girl. And King Henry wanted to marry Jane Seymour. So did I at one point, actually. But she hadn't been born yet for centuries. I looked that up. He wanted to marry Jane Seymour. So he had Anne's head chopped off. And I know some people feel that's disrespectful to women, but, you know, it was just Henry being Henry. That's the way he was. One more. I like it. Okay, here we go. Oh, you are going to sing on this. It's easy. So I won't tell you the words yet, but I'm going to be going. Dun, 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 whatever the words are. Dun, 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 dun. Whatever I sing. And then you stop. Not like that. But sorry. But you sing those, just echo those 4 lines no matter what they are, unless you find them personally offensive. Okay, here we go. I'm exorcising this song by doing it in public. I've always wanted to. All right, here we go. In the Tower of London lodges life. The ghost of Anne Boleyn walks, they declare. For Anne Boleyn was once King Henry's wife, until he made the headsman bob her hair. That's it. Oh yes, he did a wrong long years ago, and she comes up at night to tell him so. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. She comes to court King Henry, she means to give him what for. Gadzook, she's going to tell him off for having split a gore. And just in case the headsman wants to give her an encore, she has her head tucked underneath her arm. Sometimes old King Henry gives the spread for all his pals and gals and ghostly crew. The headsman carves the joint and cuts the bread. Then in comes Anne Boleyn to queer the do. She holds her head up with a wild war whoop. Woo! And Henry cries, "Don't drop it in the soup." With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. The sentries think that it's a football that she carries in, and when they've had a few, they shout, "New England gonna win." They think it's old Tom Brady instead of poor old Anne Boleyn, with a red tucked underneath her arm. Along the drafty corridors for miles and miles she goes. She often catches cold, poor thing, it's cold there when it blows. And it's awfully awkward for the Queen to have to blow her nose. With a red tucked underneath her arm. With a red tucked underneath her arm. Thank you very much.